Well, hello and welcome back to another video. In this video, I am taking and doing some more Artfight prep. I've been in the mode where I've been drawing OCs that I haven't drawn in a while. I was stuck on Bun Bun for a while, but with the fact that I've been getting a little bored, I decided to switch it up, and since it's Pride Month, I was going to start working on the profile characters for Angel Morgans and Miles. I need to check his last name, but his name is Miles. Which Angel, which is the character you see me drawing right here, is my non-binary OC, whom I love dearly and have only drawn twice. Yes, I've done them some injustice, and it's the same for Miles. They're my trans OC. He is my trans OC. He is femme to mask, which we love. So that's gonna be what this video is focused on, is building up their profiles. Since I only have these two drawings, I will show on screen, on their Artfight page as of right now. Don't even get me started on those headshots I did of Angel and Miles. They just don't look like my characters, and I really wanted to draw more of my queer OCs since it's Pride Month. Since I have these two characters that I love dearly that I have not given enough love to, I wanted to work on first building up their imageries, but the art I do of them, so that people going to my Artfight this July, if they want to draw these characters and they really want to, they have some proper references of how I draw them. So I wanted to do that, and then I also want to just work on fleshing them out a bit more. I've kind of stepped away from the story comfort zone a little bit since I've not really been working on Kai at all. I feel like Kai has enough references for the moment. I had a phase where I drew him a lot, so I feel like he has plenty of references on there, so I probably won't bother with him until next July for Artfight. But these two and Rome suffer greatly. I'll do Rome in a different video. I want this one to be specifically focused on Angel and Miles, since I don't talk about them a lot and they aren't main characters, they're side characters. But I feel like they're in my heart, man. I love them. I love when you get attached to side characters, especially when it's just like a random fucking character in your story that doesn't really have much plot importance. But with Angel and Miles, they both do carry a bit of importance to the plot, since they are Kai's first friends. And I love them. So talking a bit on what I want Angel's personality to be, I feel like they are definitely soft-spoken, but it's to a point. You know, they're soft-spoken at the sense that they won't stand up for themselves, since they are not necessarily wanting to bother. They just don't see the point. And they do get a little frightened when trying to speak up, especially when it comes to themselves. But if it's somebody they consider family, they have no problem screaming at a bitch. They have no problem fucking going off and going off rail. I feel like a favorite moment that their boyfriend, Miles, would have of them would be a moment where Angel's just had enough with the bitch insulting Miles or Kai, and Angel just starts reading that bitch. They start reading them. Like, they are coming for their wigs, they are coming for everything, man. And before this, I don't have a lot of information about Angel on their profile, so I do need to put that in play. Angel's last name is Morgan, and I do need to put that on Artfight, and I'm speaking about that. I should probably do that. Anyway, if I'm being completely honest, I've been stuck in a little bit of an art rut lately, and I think this piece right here in the background has really helped me a lot coming out of that because it's the first piece of mine that I've liked in a minute. I know the last piece I did of Bun Bun, if you've seen on my shorts, that piece I'm not too happy with, and I want to be honest about that. I don't necessarily like it, and I think it shows in how I've done it. I just struggled way too much with it and the pose and stuff like that. It was a definite struggle. So, moving on to stuff you haven't seen, because if you've watched my last video, you would have seen that footage already. This is just footage of the background that I took as I was drawing it. I could give the whole speed paint for the whole rendering, but I just don't feel like it at the moment, and I don't want to make this video too long, and I want to get to Miles soon. As of the moment, I have not drawn Miles full body or half body shot, but, we'll get there. We get there when we get there. But I know with Angel specifically, them I associate with red a lot for backgrounds. I love doing a red background for them. So I just had to do them at like a lakeside because I thought that was awesome. Originally it was going to be grass in the background, but I decided having them near a lake just felt fitting, and I didn't want to draw grass, so it's tomato. With why I associate them with red so much is because their boyfriend's, Miles, hair is red as it can get. I love red hair. I love redheads and I love red hair on people. I just think it's so fitting and so pretty. I love it. Love, love, love. So, I just think y'all can see me messing with the sun in the corner. I think y'all will definitely like this piece and what I got in store for later in the video. I went through and I updated a little bit of Angel's profile. Now they have 3 photos. Yippee. And I only like one of them. Well, I like the flats because I did a flat version so people can color pick for their outfit. The description now reads, I'll tell you what it read before and then I'll tell you what I just went and added on. What I had beforehand before making this video or anything was, they're non-binary, they, them, calm and level-headed, they're soft-spoken and dating Miles. That was the only information I really had on this character at the time. Now with me going through and actually drawing them and getting more of like a feel for what I want their personality to be, I added on, Angel is soft-spoken to and a pushover when it comes to themselves. But the second another person says anything about their friends or their partner, they are ready to fight. I feel like that fits their personality more and gives people a better idea of them as a person. I think it really encapsulates what I'm trying to do with this character. I love them. Love them, love them, love them. So on my to-do list, because I do got a little Artfight to-do list, I need to make some more stuff for Miles, so he's more fleshed out. I need to do some more art for Rome because he's in the same boat that Angel and Miles was. I almost said Morgan. Angels and Miles are, with a boring headshot and one piece that I did a while ago that's not even up to my standards right now for my own personal art. Kai, I only put 1 photo up for Kai, so I need to do more for him. I thought I had more photos for Kai. No, I don't. Well, it looks like I got more Kai drawings in the future. Fuck. So, in this video, we're just going to be focusing on Angel, like I said, and Morgan. Miles. Angel and Miles. And then in the next video, I will be focusing more on our main character of this series, Comfort Zone, which is Kai Orchard and Rome. I also need to update it because they all have last names, and I have not put their last names on their profiles, and they're my only characters that don't have the last names. Bun Bun has a last name, but it's in her description. I feel like all my characters have last names because I have. Let me tell you guys the characters I have set up on my Artfight. I have Leona Cora. I have Sashiko Nanashi, Kai Orchard, Miles, Rome, Angel Morgan, Takashi, Jade Koa, the King Unnamed yet still. I have not yet named that man. Bun Bun, Ghost Blackberry, Neve Blackberry, and My Blackberry. I also need to put more art down for fucking Takashi. I only have one piece of him. One. So much to do. So much to do. I could do a whole segment just on Takashi alone. That's gonna make it so awkward because I have a setup currently of Angel and Morgan, Miles and Angel and Miles, not Morgan. Why do I want to keep calling him Morgan? It's because guys, Angel's last name is Morgan. Kai Orchard and Rome need to be done together since they're partners, and then Takashi. Takashi's partner is Nanashi, but I think I have good references for Nanashi. I can add more for Nanashi. I can add more for her. I guess we need to do Nanashi still too. I have so much to do. Whatever. Whatever, we'll get it done. We'll get it done. We still have a month. It's fine. It's fine. We still have a month. The core is done. I just need to do the images and actual drawing bits. Okay, cutting that speed paint short because I have no more to say about Angel. We're gonna be moving on to Miles. So with Miles, this is Miles 6. He is my trans OC. Now with him, I did struggle a lot in the first half of this drawing that you're not being able to see right now. I may put it up at the end of the speed paint that I recorded, but I was struggling really bad, which is why I wasn't screen recording my process. If I'm going into a drawing, I usually don't record the first bit until I'm 100% confident that I'm going to actually turn it into a full rendered drawing. That's just something I do, and it's something that I do to where I don't feel disappointed if I'm keeping it or deleting it. I don't feel disappointed or I'm not too hard on myself for the main part of it. So that's something I try and do to avoid getting too down in the dumps about my art and not doing something right. With Miles, one of my biggest goals was to make him more muscular because I know a lot of trans people that I've heard have talked about feeling that all the trans rep they have is either scrawny twink men that are portrayed as weak, and so I wanted to kind of break out of that box standard for Miles specifically, especially hearing from trans voices in the community in the past. From videos I've watched talking about that I wanted to make sure my character wasn't playing into that stereotype. And I know with the previous drawing I did with him, I was still breaking out of that mold. It's something that I went into designing this character with that intention to kind of make him more masculine and really push it. And I'm not somebody that draws muscular men, so I definitely struggled a lot with this piece. But I think I am really confident in my line art that I've done. I've been changing up my sketching style to try and keep it loose and more fun for me, so that way I can at least still have fun while I'm sketching. And that's what I did with the sketch that you see under the line art. And I honestly love it. And one of the biggest things I loved about it was the line weight that I was getting on it. Now, I don't have a fancy Apple pen. I have a cheap pen and I have a cheap iPad that I work on. So I don't have any fancy equipment, just the bare minimum to do good digital art. And I've seen people do better art on their phones. So I'm not in any way saying that you need good equipment to do good drawings. I'm just making it known that I don't have pressure sensitivity on my iPad or with my pen. So I have to add all that in manually and go through manually and make sure my lines are thick and thin and adjust where I need it. I don't get that automatic feature. So that's why with a lot of my other art, you see that I have a struggle with line weight. And when I hear people talk about how important line weight is in pieces, especially in your line art process, I want to scream because I'm like, I always forget about it. I have ADD. I always forget about it without fail. I'll be sitting down. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this fucking drawing. We're going to do it. We're going to get at it. And then like 10 minutes later, I completely have forgotten about it when I actually go in to do line art. So I'm glad with the sketch I have under this, I made sure to remember that I wanted that line weight. And I tried my best to make some lines thicker than I'm usually comfortable with and thinner than I'm usually comfortable with. I tried to really break out of the mold that I've been putting myself in, especially with my line art. Something I've been really wanting to do in my art process specifically is change how I do my line art and make rendering more fun for me. So that's something I've been trying to do in my more recent pieces with experimenting more, stepping out of that comfort zone, and just making pieces that I'm not necessarily comfortable with, but I'm happy and I'm learning to love again. And I think that's very important, especially keeping the creative process fun for people, because I feel like when it gets boring and it gets daunting and you just stop liking what you're creating is the point where your art suffers. I feel like in mine specifically, when in my art, you can tell the difference very heavily in a piece that I really love versus a piece that I hate, because I always take more time and more effort on the pieces that I love versus the one that I don't like. And it's funny because there are some pieces that break out of that set time where some pieces that I really hate are always the pieces I spend the most time on. It's weird for me because if you look at my Epic the Musical fan art that's in my post sections, if you scroll down a little bit, you'll probably find it. That piece took me about 10 hours to do the tarot card of the lovers for Penelope and Odysseus. It took me 10 hours to do, and the longer I spent on it, the more I started to hate it. At the beginning stages, I was ready to do it. I loved the idea. I loved the concept. I'm like, I'm gonna get this done and this is gonna fucking blow up. This is gonna be so awesome. I'm gonna love it. It's gonna be my favorite piece ever. I don't look at that piece at all. I fucking hate it. I don't like it. It took me 10 hours. I was going to pull an Odysseus and make it fucking take 20 because honestly, if it took 20, that would be funny as fuck because he took 20 years to get home. No, it only took me 10 hours, but whatever. I was gonna make it take 20 hours. That was like the ultimate goal. But I got so bored on that piece and I just started hating it. And I feel like the longer I take on some pieces is the more I hate them. The quicker they are for me, the easier they are to get out. I love them more. You can really see that in Angel's piece. I didn't take all that long on their piece at all. Like, I did that yesterday as I'm recording this audio. I did that yesterday, and I did it all in one day. Miles, however, has taken me quite a bit of time because I was struggling at the beginning. I was working with a pose that just wasn't wanting to work right. I didn't like how I had him positioned, and I saw this reference that I'm using for this pose that you're seeing me draw now. And at first I was gonna just like not do it because I've done this pose in the past. I did the pose and I wasn't really all that happy with it, and I've seen it in the past, but something was just telling me to, you're having a hard time with this one. Why don't you go back to that one because you're gonna have an easier time pulling through on that one. And that's what I ended up doing after I got frustrated with the other one. So I deleted the other one that I was trying to do. I said, you know what? Fuck it. It's not working now. I can't get it to work. And that's okay. And I can't be too hard on myself about that. So then I moved on to this one and I've honestly have loved it. It's been like a breeze for me. It's been like a breeze. I did 2 sketches of it and I did the line art now. and it's just coming along so fucking great. Of course, I got that little artist perfectionism in me telling me that it's not perfect or it looks a little weird, but I feel like that's just my self-conscious telling me that it looks a little weird because I posted this on TikTok and I got a couple comments on it that were all positive. Uh, one privately to me. And then I posted it on a art Discord, and I got so much positive from that. It definitely really helped me out with this piece. It definitely made me feel more confident in it. Now, of course, going in with the line art, I was so worried that the line art was going to make it look fucked up because I feel like the sketchy vibe of the piece as it is looked amazing. So I was definitely worried with my line art I was going to fuck it up. I did not. Woohoo! I did not. I did not fuck it up. Ooh. I didn't fuck it up, which I'm very happy about. I'm very happy and appreciative that it turned out well because I think I would have cried because I really want to draw Miles. This is like a character that I've been wanting to draw, but it's so daunting because I don't draw men often. Now, going on to the story Comfort Zone, the main characters in Comfort Zone is Kai Orchard and Rome. Those are my two main characters for that storyline. And the side characters, which are these two, for Angel and Miles, they're both side characters, but I feel like I want them to have more. I want them to be more than just side characters. So I do think if I ever finish Comfort Zone, I would like to develop it to a point where I can do like a spin-off or like a side story where it just focuses on Angel and Miles' relationship. I want to take away a lot of things I'm genuinely frustrated in when it comes to writing and stories and romance writing specifically, where you get those big miscommunications. I want with Comfort Zone it to be mainly about good communication because I always admire that in other people's work that I see. Now, reading a little bit for Comfort Zone's description. I will be reading it here because I feel like it is important. When Kai was young, he was diagnosed with autism of the second level. So he's like mid, and I interpret that as being mid-range in the autism spectrum. Within those few words, his loving family fell apart. His mother started to disappear from time to time. His father started cheating. Years after, when Kai was 15, his little sister was born. But that's when the fighting started. His mom found out his mom found out about the cheating. Every fight sent Kai into panic attacks, or he would stop talking for hours after no one was. His safe space, he had no place that felt like home. I'm reading off of my Unveil and I need to work on it. Except for one person in his family, his baby sister. He adored her. Over the 3 years she existed, he learned that So with that basic understanding of what comfort zone is, I want these characters to kind of coincide together. I noticed with all of my comfort zone characters specifically, they all have a certain color scheme to them that's more pale and muted, and that's for a reason because I want all of Kai's friends to have more of a softer color palette to them. That's why you see with this character, Miles, he has more subtle, like pale greens and darker colors, not anything bold and vibrant other than his hair color. And Angel's the same way. They have more of like a dark brown color palette to them with some soft greens to kind of cohese them together with Miles because I want them to look like they fit together pretty well in a character creation type way. So I wanted them to kind of coincide with their partner. I also wanted these characters to all have this softer color palette because I have in Kai's background that his eyes are pretty sensitive to bright and bold poppy colors. So I didn't want that to show up in his friends' colors palettes. Even though, yeah, it could, but I feel like they just gravitate to the same color scheme. I just feel like it fits better and I like it. I like the idea of it. So I'm happy with it, and that's what matters. Now, with Miles, they are all in college. They're all college age, so they all have a major. Now, with Kai, he is a culinary major. Rome is a law major because his family's a law family, a law firm family. He has people in his family that are lawyers, and I feel like that fits his character. You got Angel, they are a psychology major, because I feel like they would be very fascinated by the brain and trauma and stuff like that, so they'd want to kind of understand that better, so I feel like that's a good fit for their field. And then you got Miles, so I was kind of going over his identity and everything like that. And I feel like if I want him to be buff and athletic and more of a bodybuilder type, then there has to be something that coincides to that. And I thought, I'm gonna make him a sports major. Now, with all of this, I'm now realizing that I'm going to have to create a university for them and have that university have a name, logos, merchandise, and stuff like that in their universe, because all universities do. I feel like this is a very high-end university where they have a bunch of different branches and stuff like that, and it's kind of like a Harvard in a sense, but for everybody, and it's like a really top high-end university that's very rare to get into, so all of these characters are very smart in their own fields. I feel like I'd like that idea. So I gotta think of a name for this university. Now, with Miles, I think I called him Kai earlier. I did not mean to. With Miles, I absolutely adore this character. I kind of want him to be a smart but hot-headed jock type. I love the idea of him being very much a hothead, because I can be a hothead, and again, I always like to put something in my characters that reminds me of myself. Yeah, I said that right the first time. So with Angel, it's their love of psychological stuff and their need for knowledge on that. I tend to love psychological things, and with Bun Bun's story, another character of mine, I get into that psychological aspect with her character quite a bit. So I feel like having a character that's really into it in a college setting just fits, and it just fits for their character too. So I love that I could add that in. And I have no interest in sports, and I have no interest in active stuff. So I was trying to figure out how I could relate myself to Miles's character, just so I can be more inclined to want to draw him more, because I feel like that's a very important thing for me, having that connection to my characters, even if I don't relate to them in other aspects. I want at least one thing that I can relate to them with, and I feel like it's with Miles, it's his hot-tempered nature. Okay, moving on to character interactions. I'm gonna do quite a few of these, so I'm going to try and speed rocket through them. So, the first one, Angel works alongside Kai at this bunny-made cafe, where they have found out that the male outfits, the suits, the bunny suits, don't do as well as the typical female outfit, so they decided that all their workers, regardless of gender, is going to wear the female outfit. Fun, I know. So I wanted to show Angel in their work outfit as if Miles has come to see them on their shift and they've ended up into some odd predicament. And I found a reference for it, so I was very happy. And I honestly, this piece is more chibi style, and I did not mean for it to turn out chibi style, but it just did, so oh well. I've been trying to work on my line weight in my art and not forget about it, so you can see a lot of this line art process is me working on thickening lines, thinning lines out, and stuff like that. Yay. The fun shit. Not really. Especially when you don't have pen pressure on your brush, so you gotta do it yourself. It's a nightmare. I was definitely struggling with Angel's Thighs. You can see me screenshot this for some progress photos. If you watch my YouTube shorts or my TikTok page or any platform I'm on, usually it's TikTok shorts or my TikTok and YouTube shorts that you'll find me on. Just GoreLover08. You'll find me. You'll find me. Technically, it's GoreLover008 on my TikTok now because TikTok was fucking weird. But regardless, so I don't really know what else to say for this piece, other than the fact I really liked it, and at some point, you just stare at your piece so much that you start seeing all the flaws in it. So, yippee for that, because I do like this piece. I just think the position that Miles is in makes his body look a little odd and misshapen, but that is completely fine. I don't really give too much of a crap about it being absolutely perfect. Just kinda has to be there because I want to show them and how they would interact. So, yes. I feel like it's mainly because I'm not used to drawing this perspective, especially of the male body. And I know with Miles being a trans man and me having him be more not presenting, but have him being more masculine. That's the word I was trying to figure out. And being more muscle toned and like a bodybuilder build. I feel like this pose was just not doing my man's justice at all. Another thing I hate drawing is those fucking beanies. And I have it in his character description that he really likes those beanies, so I have to keep them. I'm trying something new for the rendering with this by starting in grayscale for my shading and then transferring it over and stuff like that. And I think it worked out pretty well. I do. I particularly like the rendering I did on Angel's ass. It's gorgeous. But moving on to the next piece. Okay, so I wanted to do one that's more like coupley than the last one was. I don't know how to put it in specific words, so I found this reference. I'm like, hell yeah, we're doing it, we're doing it, we're doing it. So that's the whole thought process behind this one. And before I begin really talking about this one, I do want to say one thing. When I say I want Miles to be more masculine leaning, it's in no way to discredit any other representation of trans men being depicted as quote unquote less masculine. That's not what I mean by it. It's just in the community with like art and stuff like that. I don't see a lot of trans men being represented in different bodies. It's always usually that one specific body type. I never see more bulky, more masculine, quote unquote, more like muscle building. That's the right one. More like muscle, like bodybuilder type, trans men. So that's what I wanted Miles to more come off as. I'm very sorry I'm bad with my words. So I do apologize if my previous words felt like they were coming from a different place. And I do acknowledge that it can, upon reflecting about what I said earlier, it can seem like I'm trying to discredit any type of representation that trans men get. I'm not. In no way, shape, or form do I want that to be what this character comes across as. I just want him to be more muscle That's the best way I can say. I just want him to be more muscular-y. So I do apologize for that. But I did feel like it was necessary for me to apologize and clarify myself on that, just in case, as I don't want any trans individuals to feel like I am trying to be offensive in any way, shape, or form. I don't want that. I genuinely don't. And I don't want to make anybody feel invalidated for how they look and what stage they are in their transition. It's not at all what I mean to do, and I would genuinely, I think I'd feel horrible if anything I said in making a character like this were to come across that way, because I don't want it to. So I feel like taking accountability for how things could sound to some people, I feel like that's genuinely very important. And it's important to me that I clarified my words, because I know that sometimes when I say shit, I don't always voice it correctly or word my words correctly. I do these videos without a script, so I can have some takes in mind that come across as not worded in the best way that they could be, and I do apologize. So, something I noticed with Miles, I'm just gonna go back into this because I don't want to overdo an apology or something like that. I don't want to overdo it. But anyway, something I noticed that I always do with Miles is I forget his fucking gloves. I don't like drawing hands. That's just a fact. It's a pure born fact. So, in this piece, I made sure that I bumped up the gloves on his hands to do so. So, luckily, I did not fucking forget that he has gloves. Yay! I was using a different line art brush for this piece. Ooh. It's one of an old brush that I used to be like really obsessed with, and I'm getting back into it. You should see it pop up. It's the Elder brush. The Elder brush. It's definitely a good one if you want like textured, more rough pieces, and I do love it. I do love it. It gets a nice effect that I've been looking for that kind of helps with me trying to add more line weight into my pieces, and I usually get that pretty naturally with this brush. That I've noticed it kind of does the calligraphy twist to it, which I really like. I do still like my Shiba brushes and the other brushes I use, but I feel like for this piece I wanted to use this brush in particular, and for the foreseeable future, a couple of my pieces will probably utilize this brush a bit more. Now, fun facts about Comfort Zone. All of the characters have something in their eyes, and I think that's just because I like drawing eyes so much, so I figured having a symbol in their eyes to kind of have like a more fun with them. So with Angel, they have a little diamond in their eye, and Miles has a cross in his eyes. I say Angel only has a diamond in their eye, because Angel is canonically half blind. So they can't see out of one of their eyes. I originally, when I was making their design, I didn't really think about the fact that their other eye is kind of missing its iris. I just thought it looked cool. And now I'm turning that into them being canonically. What one is the right one? Anyway, I'm turning that into them being half blind, and they already have poor eyesight because they have glasses. So they got it rough. They got it rough. So for this piece, this is one that's going on Miles's profile. I've decided that I'm going to split these character interactions up in between both characters, so that way so I have to draw more, pretty much. More work for myself, but whatever. But I genuinely, with this piece, a big thing of it was trying to figure out how Angel's clothes actually fall apart on them, because they have this kind of turtleneck situation, and for the reference, it has the other character grabbing down a part of the shirt to open it, as in the reference it's an unbuttoned shirt, and in this it's Angel's actual outfit that I have on them. And I figured, why not make it into kind of like a split piece where the top of it is, if pulled up, it looks a certain way, and then you have like necklaces on top that are also like a part of the shirt, if that makes sense, and if my words are coming across right. So in the last piece, I didn't like how Miles looked, but in this piece, I like how both of them look. Crazy. Crazy. This piece is a banger. This piece is a banger. I know this video is going to probably end up being an hour long, which is very much a concern for me, so this is going to be the last piece I do in this video. I will be adding more to their profile afterwards, so if you guys want to check out that, check out the other pieces I end up doing with Angel and Miles, you can go ahead and go to my Artfight, which, let me just put up my name on Artfight real quick. My user on Artfight is GoreLover08, or you can, I think you can search by characters on Artfight, and if you can, search up Angel Morgans, or Miles Sage, and you should find them if you recognize the art that I did in this video. So, yeah. I only have 4 followers on Artfight, so that's another thing where you will be able to tell me apart. You'll also see Kai Orchard, Rome, Sashiko, Nanashi, Leona Korra, Jade, Koa, Jade Koa, Leona Koa, and then the King Unnamed Oshi, and as well as the Blackberry Sisters. So, if you want to look at my Artfight and see some of my art, go ahead. If you don't want to look on Artfight and you want more regular updates on my stuff, I do post on YouTube shorts now, as I'm working on pieces in real time, and I also post on my TikTok page, which is GoreLover008. So, y'all have fun with that, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. The next video I do will probably be on Kai Orchard and Rome, but that will probably be a little while, as I still have a few more pieces that I want to work on for Angel and Miles before I move on. Anyway, happy drawing, guys. Good damn bye.